I like turtles.
Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101, the podcast that reminds you that the red turtle is the best turtle. This is level 204. With us today, we have Matrarch, Michelle.
Purple turtle.
We have KooshMoose, Nate.
Are we betting on turtle races again?
And
it's for the next live show.
Least, we have ElroyOMJ, Mr. Jason.
Oh my goodness! I thought the blue turtle show was the one that always was the unfair one, but that's like the heat seeker or something. Yeah,
tell us more.
So, but yeah, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, the pickings were slim, so we figured we'd let you on.
Bottom of the barrel. This is we have reached the bottom of the barrel.
We have reached a new low.
Yeah.
So what have you been eating? I mean, what have you been doing, Elroy?
Oh shoot, man! I've been traveling all over the place. I just got back from Texas. Actually, went down to see my kinfolk down there, and then I was at dance camp before
family?
that.
That mean family?
My father. Actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like kin.
Yeah. Father. Yeah, it was Papa Elroy and one of my.
So he's the one to blame.
He's
the one responsible for you.
Yeah, that's all I have left down there. Really,
okay,
I mean,
cool.
You move away for 20 years and the whole city changes. So yeah. And,
so wait, did you say you were at dance camp?
Yeah, I was at dance camp.
Let's stop talking about Texas. What happened at dance camp?
Tutus, no tutus.
Yeah, this was at this was in Choctaw, Mississippi, and I went down there and did some dancing with my amazing wife, and we did the ballroom dancing thing. It was basically from 8 to 5 every day, and then you get a 2-hour break, and then there's a party from 7 to 11, and then rinse and repeat for 4 days, and it was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie. And we did 2 routines. Possibly I will upload those at some point, and you can just see how outmatched I am with her dancing compared to mine at this point. But we had a good time, and the routines are like the ones that are choreographed, It's not the, just go out and dance patterns and whatnot. So we did one in the cha-cha and one in the waltz. So that was...
Whoa.
I'd never done one before.
TMI.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you go.
So are you more of a cha-cha guy or a waltz guy?
That's actually a really good question because the cha-cha is a rhythm dance and the waltz is a smooth dance. And so my wife, she prefers smooth. In fact, her favorite dance is the Viennese waltz, and I am more of a rhythm guy, and cha-cha is actually my favorite. So I was in hog heaven with that. So I was glad that was what the routine was the cha-cha. So I was in my wheelhouse, So yeah, but it was a good time. I really, if you have nothing going on for a week in your summer and you're in the Mississippi area, I mean, it's at like a casino, for the Choctaw Indian Nation or something. I mean, I could talk about this for a long time, but yeah. So if you're interested, just DM me and I'll get you hooked up with some info. So, but yeah, that's what I've been up to.
I mean, from what I remember, usually post a video in the Discord and let us see.
I will, yeah. I think the last one I posted was probably like 2 years ago before I had 2 back surgeries. It was the Daft Punk one, I believe. And so now that's a
special surgery you had.
Yeah, well, I think I've bounced back just fine, but yeah.
You got
it was
lucky?
to some song I didn't know,
okay.
So no, I wish I got to choose the song. It was the one that the instructor picked out, and it was. I think this song is called "Nervous," and it's by some dude that I have no idea who it is, some millennial dude or something. I don't know, or whatever's after millennials.
Well, we're all at the appropriate age to have no idea what that song is.
I have no idea.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, right. I could probably find it by the end of the podcast, but I think the song is called "Nervous," and it's about some dude that is nervous. Yeah. Spoiler alert. So
Supposed to say that before. Never learn.
Yeah, that's I was forget. You know, it's like, shoot. But yeah, so that's I'm back in town long enough to record, and I'm ready to talk some Chivos.
All right,
man.
let's get going with this week's question. Comes to us from Freamwhole, and he asks, "What is your favorite genre, and what is the best and worst game you've played from that genre?" All right, nice and easy. I assume we'll go with Xbox-related answers for this one. And we'll go first with patron Dinoman87, who says, "My favorite is music games. My favorite is Rock Band 3, and my worst is Rock Revolution. Rock Band 3 ticked almost all boxes necessary. Great soundtrack. Rock Revolution is just poor Konami style." All right, that's a great pick, Dino. I'm going to have to disagree a little bit and say by the time Rock Band 3 came out, with Rock Band 1, 2, and all the DLC, all the great songs were already out there. And I thought 3 kind of had the weakest track list because they also picked a lot of songs based on the keyboard add-on that was in there. But all together, you could play the songs from 1 and 2 and 3 and Green Day and the Beatles and this and that, or I don't know. Anyway, Rock Band's amazing.
Yeah, not Beatles, unfortunately.
I know, not Beatles, but
but yeah, Green Day imported in all that stuff, track packs.
There was one more.
It seems like that was real glitchy, though, to get that to actually work. But I take exception with the second half of that, with the Rock Revolution. I never played it, but, I mean, to say that's poor Konami style, I mean, let me tell you something.
Uh-oh.
Bust out one of those dance pads that has like 9 squares on it and connect that thing to your Xbox and then tell me about poor style. I mean, be thankful for what you got.
Oh, if you bring a Dance Dance Revolution pad to Dance Cam and record it, I will be so happy.
Oh, man, I remember those. I think those were circa PS2 days, man. But those things, I mean, you could never get them secured to the ground good, and you slide around. You didn't know if you were supposed to wear socks on it. I mean, it was kind of gross after a while. You just wore bare feet, but if you had socks on, you're gonna
you'd slip all over
pull
those
a muscle,
things.
So be thankful you had a nice little camera there. I'd say poor Konami style would be a dance pad. So there you go.
I think
that's my style.
Having played Rock Revolution, it's pretty bad. Like, it just the soundtrack, if I recall correctly, too, was mostly songs that had already been featured elsewhere. So there wasn't like this soundtrack of things that we just didn't have access to. It really wasn't good. It felt very. It felt like the bargain
Didn't it go
version
from left
of
to right? Or wait, there was something different about it. It was weird. I'm trying to remember.
It was
what
like up and down on the
I'm trying to remember.
left side. Yeah, that's right. Something about the note highway was
It was
different.
Yeah.
And I've clearly blocked.
Copyright?
What's that?
Is there a copyright or something that forced them to do that, or were they just like, we're going to do it different?
It just looked
This
different.
is how the
know.
Europeans do it.
Yes.
How the Europeans.
There was the European version.
There is an EU version.
From what I remember, it was all covers, but they were decent covers. I'm trying to remember. You played it, and I think I watched.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did play it, and I remember.
You remember
very
Zero?
little
That's very
of it.
telling.
Although I apparently completed all the songs on Expert at one point. So I mean, I played it enough to do that. So
Well,
just
it
looking
was,
at the list real quick.
Well, it was a chip rip off. Easy for me to say.
Chip rip-off.
It was
Yes.
a cheap rip off of a great game, and that's what's going to happen.
Right, exactly. It was someone trying to cash in on something that had just been so successful.
Speaking of which, I'll go with my answer. So, since this week is all about beat 'em up games, we're going to talk about beat 'em up games.
Oh yeah.
And the worst beat 'em up game is probably not really the worst, but it was the most disappointing for me and the most overrated. I think we all know where this is going. This is going to Castle Crashers. Now, a 4-player beat 'em up game.
You shut your mouth.
Yeah, you shut your dirty mouth.
All right, well, you'll have your time to rebut in a minute, all right? I remember the deer pooping, and I remember the music. Everything else is forgettable. The same enemies were... Every level had one enemy, maybe two. You had to grind. You had to find the stupid animals.
Oh, man.
Go ahead. You can rebut.
Did you forget about the buff alien getting his gains on, bro?
I must have.
I mean, he was like,
buff
you walk
alien.
in on him, he's like curling.
Yeah, I did remember.
He's curling.
Just like Behemoth,
it just takes a little time out just to
put in memorable characters.
What about the Corn? Yeah, the Corn character. I mean,
I think that this highlights that, and I kind of get where I'm not as cold on Castle Crashers as
I played
Elle
it
is.
twice on 2 consoles, and I don't remember much about it.
Well, you got carried in it twice, which might be why you don't remember too much.
Yes, that would be.
No,
but I will say this much as someone who actually played and did the carrying, so I have a little bit of knowledge about the game. That it has a lot of personality, but if you just tore that personality away and made it about the gameplay is really not that much of anything. Like there aren't, as I recall, there aren't like combos, there aren't distinctions between any of the characters. They're all just reskins who do exactly the same thing. And part of the fun in these titles usually is like you'll do a special attack and each one functions a little differently or looks a little different. And yeah, some of the weapons, they look different in your hands, but the gameplay itself all was just, mash one button and jump occasionally. But all the sort of
nothing wrong
gaga
with that.
of it.
Y'all
wrong
are
with that.
forgetting a major part. I mean, you jump and you like
you could
just
jump.
start swinging. And you're like flying across the screen, swinging your sword. Like it
Well, but every character did that same thing, right? There was you had
the little golden axe-ish little animals you could ride on and attack with. You had just look at the frog, man. I mean, you go inside the frog, and you got weapons galore inside the frog, and
all right, maybe we need a Series X stack so I can give it another try.
well,
Castle Crashers
unfortunately,
is definitely memorable, right? Like
sure.
Even if you didn't love the game, like there are these things that are memorable about it for sure.
Well, they did actually re-release it. It's called Wonder Blade. It's not Castle Crashers, but it is Castle Crashers. So if you need to rekindle that love, Elle, just do Wonder Blade. I mean, only you knew about this sooner.
Someone should talk about it on Achievement Hunting 101 podcast.
It's true.
For sure.
Like the beat 'em up game that Elle typically goes back to is TMNT, right? 1989, the arcade one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because that's the one he carries other people in because he knows it really well and is good at the game. Maybe if you spent more time with one of these other ones, you'd feel the same way. Like we'll hold off. We won't play any more of the new one. We'll let you get really good at it. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, not that the new TMNT... I don't know.
Well, the collection part of it was kind of cool because they also had those little animals. Like one of them would like sniff and then show you where some of the collectibles were. Other ones, I think the animals were kind of the customization, the little followers. Yeah, mm-hmm. and there was a wide variety of those. And
it was the first time I had seen the phrase bipolar bear, and I just loved it.
That's awesome. I didn't know that was what it's called. Oh, shoot.
The bipolar.
It's pretty cool. And like, if you had a leveled up character, you could, the couch co-op options on it were great. And someone could just start a new character and you could always revive them because you weren't going to die. And
you needed to do a lot to get a leveled up character to my memory. And that, I think, is part of my problem. Just redoing those same early stages over and over to try to level up. That's what I seem to recall doing. And then it was too hard otherwise. Playing alone, I don't know.
Did you play the game much on your own?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I know.
Well, he's probably because he was alone.
Right.
I don't remember him complaining about it beforehand.
I don't remember you playing it alone either, Elle.
Speaking of lonely people talking about bad genres, Koosh.
Yes. Speaking of lonely people talking about bad genres, let's talk about what the question asker said.
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. Freem says, I should probably answer my own question. I'd probably say turn-based strategy is my favorite genre. I love the new XCOM games, but I think Gears Tactics has done some amazing things to remove the grid constraints and adding the execution mechanic to get more action points. Makes the whole experience feel more dynamic and rewards aggressive gameplay, which typically isn't the case for most entries in the genre. If I stick to the XCOM-like games I've played, my vote for worst goes to Omerta, City of Gangsters. I remember buying this on launch, being touted as XCOM meets Tropico, and it pretty much sucked at both of those. I'm not a fan of the real-time strategy, so that city management stuff sucked, and when you got into combat, it was so basic, it couldn't keep me engaged. I completed it, wrote the walkthrough, and didn't care for it. Empire Sin is a spiritual successor to that game, and I'm gun-shy to play it, This is the bad taste in my mouth from Omerta, and you have just convinced me not to play those games.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So,
Wow.
let's talk about me. Surprising no
come
one.
on. You don't want to talk about these
Surprising
exciting
no one.
real-time strategy games?
My genre is
Yes.
Metroidvania.
Yes.
And my favorite game in the series is, of course, Ori and Guacamelee. And because they both are fantastic. And why would you make me choose one of them, you monster? And the
right.
worst,
I know which one you
the
would pick.
worst in the genre would be Green. That
Oh,
game
boy.
is horrible. It doesn't play well, and it's bugged, and it stole a completion from me and ate my save.
Ooh.
And I am not looking forward to going back to it, but I will at some point, maybe. And that's why I don't like that game. It's just not a great game.
Now, Koosh, you said that you like Oreos and guac. Now,
Yes.
which one of the two of each one is your favorite? I'm just curious. Like, is the sequel better than the original in any case, or do you like them equally?
Well, that's a great question. I would go with the definitive edition of both. So the original, but the definitive original. So the Ori had a new zone added, and it had some quality of life mechanics, ability to teleport and things like that. And they also fixed some situations that could cause you to have to do an entire run again if you were going for the 100% run. So they fixed some of those issues, which is nice. And Guacamelee, the super turbo, whatever, it was just so much fun to go back in. I feel like they also added a new zone and the way the levels connected, I think. But yeah, I would say those. The sequels, the Ori sequel was really good, but I still prefer the original. I do like some of the changes they made, and the chase sequences were amazing. Those were what were brought over from the original. That just felt so compelling and so stressful while you're in those. But man, the rush when you finished it flawlessly. Well, they added a couple of those to the sequel, and those were great. But yeah, and then just Guacamelee. I just love that game. That came out of nowhere. As did Ori to me. They were just great surprises. Loved them. That's me.
Well, I did want to add something as far as the turn-based strategy is concerned. If he's a fan of that, I have to put a plug in this for this. There's this one mobile game that I wish that they would add achievements to, but it's a mobile game. It's called Uniwar or Uniwar, and it's a turn-based strategy game. I've literally been playing this game for over 12 years. I'm kind of a big deal in it. No, but if you want to get your appetite whet for some nice turn-based strategy, I think it's the best turn-based strategy game of all time, and it's on your mobile phone. I wish I had achievements. I wish it was in the Xbox Empire, but it's not. So it's owned by Spooky Games, but it's not. It's not scary. Don't be afraid. But it's anyway. I just thought I'd throw that out there in case Freem wanted to put it on his phone and try it out. I warn you, it's addictive. It's fun. So there you go.
That man
That's
sleeps
the only
about
thing
2
I
hours a
can
night.
add.
Don't take any more time away from him. Okay, he's a very busy person.
So I have a question for you, Koosh. Do you frequently on TA rate the games when you're done with them?
Sometimes.
I was just curious because Metroidvania is not only clearly your favorite genre, but it routinely produces really high quality games. I think out of a lot of the genres, this is one where there aren't too many really terrible ones. I was just curious.
You haven't been looking careful. You haven't been looking lately.
Well, this is true because just like with everything, now that that's kind of become the it genre, there's just a glut of them, which of course is bringing the whole thing down until eventually people don't make them anymore. And so the cycle continues. But I was just curious how many Metroidvanias, I know you're not going to know this off the top of your head, but if you've reviewed them, how many you've given a 4.5 or a 5 to? Like how many, because I know it had to have been hard for you to pick, and you of course didn't pick one. You said 2 games in one breath, which I understand and appreciate. But I'm just curious how many of those were like your upper tier quality games, because I know you can probably name half a dozen more that you also liked. They just didn't quite hit that Ori kind of platform.
Yeah. I mean, the other one that would have been right up there would have been Shadow Complex, like just under.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Shadow Complex, but I think if I'm going for those ones I mentioned earlier, Ori and Guacamelee are just top tier. I would say I've probably given 4s or 5s to, 8 of them, something like that.
Okay.
6 to 8, something like that.
Are you doing research, Michelle?
No, Koosh.
Well, I was hoping Koosh would do the research, but I'll do the research since I asked the question. You guys keep talking.
Koosh,
I can do the research. I just didn't want to click on my keyboard while I was talking.
you're gonna make one game especially very Tesla sad. So
it's not a Vayner anymore, though.
Not a Vayner anymore. Yeah.
No, we can't.
That is very sad.
No, I'm Tesla sad.
Yeah.
That's not cool.
And I think I learned recently that Recompile isn't a Vayner anymore either.
Yeah, I think that got
a lot of them
removed.
lost it.
Yeah.
Why the change? I wonder. Oh, they just threw it in the platformer. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's how brave of them. How man.
Metroidvania games, I think, are considered a subgenre of platformer. So they typically will have both tags.
Yeah. Most commonly, yeah.
There we go. So let me see here while I'm
all right, while you do that, I will say, if you want to feel old. Oh, yeah.
Oh. So just to answer the question, if you go anything you rated a 4 or higher, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it looks like. With 3 getting the perfect 5.
I'm off. I'm not too far off.
No, you said 8-ish. And when you consider that there's Guacamelee in 2 versions and all, you're not too far off.
Yeah.
I was going to say...
You were starting to say, Al.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to feel old, Guacamelee is already 8 years old. It feels brand new still. And I think you and I are the only people, Koosh, that prefer 1. I would say most people prefer 2. But I thought 1 had the more memorable music and it had more fighting and less platforming, and 2 just went crazy with all that stuff.
I thought Guacamelee 2 did a better job of threading you through the zones.
Mm-hmm.
So it was super linear when you were just playing it that way. Whereas 1 let you do a little bit more exploring. I should say a lot more exploring. But yeah, I thought 2 did a great job of running you through the game.
Wonder if you would like Shadow Complex the same now after the last decade of playing Vayners.
I absolutely would.
Yeah. Okay.
I've dipped back in for every now and then, and it's a great time. Yeah. It's a great game.
Oh, cool.
I mean, it looks like, according to TA at least, your last achievement in Shadow Complex was in the remastered one was in 2020, so it's recently enough that you've put the time into it.
What?
All right.
I guess I can go ahead and knock out my first one here. So GT3 Option Fan says, my favorite genre, very broadly, would be the 3D action adventure genre. I love games with good stories, and the gameplay is a just right challenge level. One of my favorites is Alan Wake. The story was super memorable. The action elements were unique and enjoyable. I can't say that word. One of my least favorites for Xbox was I'm Alive. The story just wasn't that interesting to me, that it didn't hold my attention, and I moved along from it before very long. Okay, well, very easily. You said it was very broadly. Well, apparently very broadly is just not going to cut it, because Alan Wake is not in the action adventure genre, and neither is I Am Alive. So your question fell on the wrong guy, because we do a segment on this, and I'm going to be a stickler on this. And I Am Alive is a survival game. Thank you very much. And Alan Wake is a third-person shooter / action horror. So I think what you meant to say is that you really like the game Warrior Boy, which is a lot of fun for $4. You get what you paid for. And I think you meant to say that the worst was Tunic because I mean, where the fox are you supposed to go in that game? So there you go. I answered your question for you. So please do better on your next question. And I will move on to another question, which is from Vulgar Latin, which is, I'll pick platforming as my genre. It's the one that reminds me the most of my childhood. Lots of gems in there, but I'll give the top spot to Celeste. Intermixing its plot into its difficulty. It's beautiful and a lot of what I like platforming games to be. Looking at the list of bad ones, I'll pick Spencer. But to be honest, I'm sure there are a lot of easy gamerscore BS. Clunky, unresponsive messes that do nothing more than make your gamerscore grow. I mean, that's kind of a good thing. But anyhow, now, so that's why we're here. But okay. Now, first, well, I mean, technically it's a plat failure, but I'll let you have this one. So, it being a platformer, I mean, Celeste is pretty much just a poor man's, I don't know, nice platforming game. Now, it's okay, but I don't think most people play it the way it was intended. So I'm really curious if Vulgar played it the right way, and I with a lot of air quotes on right, in the sense that, did he use the assist on that, or did he actually, tough it out? So. But maybe that's kind of like the games that take him back to his childhood, because you used to have all these awesome cheat codes and then you could use them. And in several cases, it made the game more fun. So, oh my gosh, sorry.
Even Mario had the warp zones.
Yeah. And so, right. And so they actually, that enhances the game. So, and to me, I think that is true with Celeste because, I mean, golly, some of those stages are just wreck your soul, and you can just jump along and just enjoy the story and look at the cool mountains and all that. And that's kind of my thoughts on Celeste. I don't really have much in the platforming that really means that much to me, but other than old school games that predate the Xbox. But I do like genres that remind me of my childhood, and that genre is called Ratalaika. So that is the genre that reminds me of my youth. And I actually enjoy playing those games like Spencer and all those other ones. Although Spencer was a hot piece of garbage, man.
Yeah,
that was a bad one. But
Spencer,
he just kind of floated everywhere, and like, oh my gosh, there was an enemy there. I had no idea. I couldn't tell between all the other colorful nuggets of whatever are on the screen.
Yeah, that was. I did want to bring attention to one of the achievements in it, though. I was looking at it. I was trying to refresh my memory on it, and I kind of like the names of some of the achievements, and I think my favorite one is My Beloved Fish. That's the name of the achievement, and you get it for I Found My Fish. I don't know, just something nice about that. Yeah, and just the way they name the achievements is kind of funny. But yeah, it's other than that, there's really not much there. So for me, I would probably suggest as the worst platformer, I would submit Frizzy is probably mine for worst platformer. Is anybody familiar with Frizzy?
No.
No, it's pretty bad. Like you are basically pulling. It's like using static, and you'll play it for like I've played it for 3 hours and 17 minutes, and I still don't know what I'm doing. Like it's just I feel like I'm just kind of hoping for the best and just clicking like mad, and sometimes it goes where it's interesting. It's an interesting mechanic on that one. So if you Vulgar, if you want another second run at a Spencer type game, I would suggest Frizzy. It's only $8 and only has one unobtainable, and it has a whopping 1.4 stars. So maybe that would be of interest to you. Frizzy, yeah, it's interesting. I think they did their math wrong. That's why the achievement is unobtainable. It's 150,000 stars or something that you have to collect, and if you collect everyone in the game, you end up like 20,000 short or something. So the person that made the achievement is not good at math or something like that. That's what I remember. Yeah. No, you can actually get up to 144,000, but you can't actually get it. So yeah, that's a down. That's really honestly the least of the problems of Frizzy, is that achievement is unobtainable and their math is bad. So yeah, but for me, Red Lake, it just is in general. I love those old style games that just remind me like 8-bit games. But El's already kind of stole my thunder on that in referring to beat 'em ups, because that's my genre of choice, of course. And
well, you suck at them.
But pretty much every one that I like, I've talked about at some point. Yeah, you don't remember me playing Alone on all those games?
I know,
but.
Don't.
but there's several that I would suggest. There's one called Wonder Blade. It's not Castle Crashers, but it is Castle Crashers. Of course, you got the Snout that redefined the genre. You got, there's all kinds of them. Mayhem Brawler newer is pretty good. Again, these are ones I've talked about at great length. 8 Dragons, if you haven't tried that one, that's really an old school, awesome experience. There's so many. I really like a lot of them. But if I was to pick the one that I dislike the most in the beat 'em up, that hands down is easily the stupid 20 Batman games that are all the same dang game that are not beat 'em ups. Those are not beat 'em ups. Those are not beat 'em ups, and get them out of my genre so that all these people that played all 20 versions of them will drop like 20,000 points in the genre so that I can catch them.
Yeah,
because I just can't play those.
They're not Daners either. Come on, let's get it all out while we're at it.
I don't know
let's get it all out.
I don't know what those are, but yeah, we're throwing games out of genres. Let's start there. I'm ready. Sign me up.
They are detective action adventure games.
Yeah. So there you go.
I think Koosh is getting mad. I'm not sure though.
He's just silently glowering.
Right,
I just wanted to go back to GT3 option fans picks for a second, just to say that I actually get the general sense of where they're coming from, and I get the dislike for I Am Alive. I played it forever ago, and I don't know if Elroy, I know you haven't, and I don't know that.
It's not a real game.
Right, exactly.
I had never heard of it, and I looked it up and saw that. Yeah,
exactly. The point of it is it didn't feel like a complete game. Like, it kind of felt like it was just getting started, because I liked it when I was playing it, but it felt like it was really starting to kind of get into a sense of where it was, and then it was over. And it was there were interesting concepts in there with like scarcity. So you'd find a gun early in the game and you'd find a single bullet, and it would be really hard to get bullets. So this dog attacks you or whatever, and you really have to think like, can I attack this thing with my knife, because I really only have this one bullet. And it's narrative driven, so it's not like some of these multiplayer games where that's the idea, is a sort of survival mechanic in that way. But I just wanted to acknowledge I actually get why that would fall in a least favorite pile. So that was it. Well, if we're ready with that, should I
yeah, your turn.
Go ahead and read the last couple. So I'm going to read 3 responses because I realized I missed one. So first up is Chewy, who says that his go-to genre, and the one that he's going to be focusing his efforts on in the next year, is point and click. My favorites are the ones with a good story, engaging characters, interesting setting, and usually more than a little humor. Grim Fandango being the absolute pinnacle of all those things for me. There are a few bad point and click games out there, but Trails and Traces, The Tomb of Thomas 2, and Dark Grim Mariopolis are 2 of the worst. Special mention also goes to Artifex Mundi. While I enjoy the games on the whole, there are so many of them, and they're all so similar that it's getting silly now. And we've touched on all this sort of stuff with these before. Grim Fandango is an excellent choice to be that top game in the genre. It does check all of those boxes. I have not played Dark Grim Mariopolis, so I can't really speak to that. Artifacts Monday we've talked about recently, about we have to keep in mind that we're really getting ports of these games that have been out for a while, which is why they come so quickly. But I get what he's, how many times are you going to wrap a diamond in a cloth to cut
cut some glass?
Yep.
Yep.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, I'll say on the, I know he's saying that if he's looking for the humor side, I've already suggested this game to you, but the Procession to Calvary, if you're going to go with point and click, I think that's probably the funniest one I've played. Yeah, it's solid. So I would definitely suggest that to you if you haven't played that already, Chewy.
Yeah, Stralagaster was really humorous in its presentation and all that.
Yeah.
And I know, humor's subjective, right? Like,
Absolutely.
I thought Guard Duty had some really funny parts in it. Like, its whole sense of what DLC is and all that. I thought that was great. I know Elle loves Demetrios, which is frequently maligned by people. But humor is
just
very
by
subjective.
Rocker because he missed an achievement and he resents the game. So he missed a 0-point achievement.
Rocker.
That's a funny one. I know.
Oh, I missed one in that one too, and I tried to go back and get it. Something for like licking a statue or something. And is that the same one he missed? I wonder.
I think his was to get all the endings or something like that.
Well, also
or the deaths.
A nice Ratalaika game is Scheming Through the Zombie Apocalypse.
Don't play that in front of young ones.
What's that?
Don't play that in front of young ones.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting it to be so.
You probably wouldn't play a zombie apocalypse game in front of small children, but then all of a sudden, like just the language and the way they talked, I was like, whoa, hold up, I wasn't ready for this.
And they're just horrible people. It's just funny. It's just so funny. Oh man!
All right, then a couple more.
I like the title.
Oh, go ahead.
Trails and Traces: The Tomb of Thomas 2. It's just fun to say.
So alliterative.
I did play that.
Alliterative.
It was a point and click. And Dark Grim gets a bad rap because it's a Zidalon, but it's perfectly fine because the achievements are so easy.
Fair point.
Carry on.
All right, yes, a couple more to go. Pardon me. So Chesna writes, my favorite genre, not surprising anyone, is fighting games, with my favorite being Arc System Works games such as Dragon Ball FighterZ. Is it FighterZ or Fighters? Either way. And Persona 4 Arena. The worst has to be Battle High 2 A+. Too slow, bad controls, and a terrible list to top it off. Echoing some of this sentiment is X, who answered that if you asked him a year ago, his answer would have been visual novels. We used to get them so rarely on Xbox, and the ones that we got were generally pretty good. Now it seems like we get a generic dating sim every week. Thank you, Radalaika. So my real answer is the same as Chesno. I'm pretty sure I own every fighting game available on Xbox, and I generally find myself pretty competent at all of them. My favorites would have to be either Killer Instinct Reboot or Soul Calibur 6. Two very different styles, yet both do everything very well. I think the worst I've played in recent memory was the Samurai Showdown reboot. Every character played exactly the same, and there was no real depth to the combat. So I'm not a big fighting game person at all. But I can totally see that being an issue. Like, part of the fun in playing fighter games is you're going to get the person whose moveset you really know. And so if they're all playing the same, that's not going to work for you. But sadly, my fighting game experience on Xbox is basically like the Virtua Fighter game that was an easy 400, I think, and like Tekken Tag Tournament, which was like an easy 900 out of 1,000 or something. I know, Elle, you used to dabble in fighter games, and I know you've played Killer Instinct at least.
Yeah, I came to a sad realization recently that my son is now 12, and that's the age I was playing Street Fighter 2 in the arcades religiously.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh man, who was your character? I gotta know.
Man, I played probably the boring ones like Ryu and Ken, but I played as
I was a Ken guy. Mm-hmm.
Who were you, Ken? Yeah.
I was a Ken guy. Oh, I started off with the Guile because he was overpowered in the first one. But it's just amazing to think that the heyday was 30 years ago. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because back then in '92, you had NES and at home before the SNES port of Street Fighter 2 came out. Yeah, just arcade games were way better than what you had at home back then. So there was a lot of time spent there in the arcades and in the pizza places. Street Fighter was everywhere, and then Mortal Kombat was everywhere.
I bet you the youngins don't even know the fighting game etiquette. So you walk in and then if you want next, you put your quarter up against the glass. I bet you they don't even know that. That's just
you don't even have quarters anymore. You don't even have tokens anymore. You have those stupid cards where the money's already on the
game
token.
Cards, yeah.
Some stupid. I don't even.
So
know.
do you put your card up against
I don't know what you do.
It'll be interesting to see how
punch him
things
in the
go
face.
because there are a bunch of places that have popped up for folks of a certain age. These sort of barcades where it's an arcade experience. You can go get a drink and whatever else, and they have tokens. They do not do, or they have just quarters. It depends. Most of them actually just have quarters. And so there is that sense of you can go and put your quarter down. And everyone gets it because we're people of a certain age. And I'll be curious as the next generation grows up, and that's not part of their experience at all, if they will change those machines or if that's something where they're eventually going to sort of get initiated into what it meant to play in an arcade back in the day.
They'll just be, Minecraft.
Oh, no.
Minecraft tablets at every table.
Probably.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I hate how right you are.
That actually would be really funny, like with a barcade, like if they walked in, there's a bunch of people our age, and like there's like a bunch of quarters lined up like against the glass, and some dude thinks he's next, and he doesn't understand what's going on.
Maybe you got to put your drink up or something. That would be good.
Do they use the game cards?
I don't even know.
Arcades? I haven't actually.
No, they don't. They usually have a quarter
Okay.
machine, a change machine. You would put your dollar in, and get change.
And then there's other types of arcades where you pay like $10 or $20 and it's free play for an hour or two. So what do you do then? Just climb on top of the machine.
Stand awkwardly behind the person playing.
Good old memories.
Yeah. So I'll
Anyway.
just wrap this up real quick. So, of course, my favorite genre is puzzle, which is probably, if we had like a genre wheel, would be right on the opposite side of fighter. And if you
Puzzle
ask me,
fighter.
as I've said, that is a good one. That is a good one. But if you'd ask me, and if you ask me pretty much any time, my favorite game of all time, my answer is going to be Tetris, right? But I looked real quick because there's several Tetris games on Xbox, and I really enjoyed Puyo Puyo Tetris, but none of them are really like... Tetris is great at what it does, but I wouldn't say that it's the greatest. My favorite version of Tetris is Tetris 99, and it's a version we don't have. So looking at my list of what I've played on Xbox, I'd actually say my favorite in the genre is Human Fall Flat, which is weird for me because I don't really love physics puzzlers generally, because there's always that point where they introduce one new mechanic and my brain just turns into pudding. Like I can't figure it out anymore. But the more they've released to Human Fall Flat, and part of why it gets this nod is because of the developers' support of the game. But with each new DLC they put out or title update they put out, like, I'm genuinely excited to go in and try it myself and figure out the different things that I have to do. And I'm not one of those folks that's really good at climbing on things in the game, but I really love it. And I think that's become my favorite puzzle game on Xbox. On the other side...
I have a
question.
question.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a question for you regarding that. So, since that's your genre, do you feel obligated? Like, how far into the game do you go where you just have no idea how to solve it before you just pull up a video and just knock it out real quick?
So, puzzlers do
Pull
come
up a
in,
Waka.
puzzlers obviously come in different subgenres, right? Like a lot of things do. And there are certain types within there that I don't, because I get them, right? Like, and I've said before that I think you waste time using a video on some of these, because the amount of time you're taking to look back and forth, like something like Mikorama, I think. I didn't use a video for that. I just figured it out. It was much quicker to just sit and figure it out on my own. Or something like Fearful Symmetry. But the ones that are more physics heavy, or not even physics, like something like Catherine, I still haven't figured it out. Like, everyone goes on about it's a great game, and I believe it's a great game, but my head just can't wrap itself around the sort of 3D mechanics of moving around the boxes and stuff. Generally with puzzle games, though, I'm really hesitant to pull up a video unless it's something like Energy Cycle, which I was trying to do really quickly, and I sort of regret doing that because I should have at least tried. Or it's a physics-based game where I lose the thread of it as I'm playing, or I've taken a long break and I just don't remember the mechanics anymore.
Kind of like the. How do you feel towards the bunny series?
Oh man, I actually almost mentioned bunny parking as my worst.
Oh wow!
So,
man.
I get what they're trying to do, and I actually don't mind the mechanics of a game where you're trying to move the car through the field. But the gameplay is just really clunky. I'd rather have a top-down view where I can just pick the car and move it in a direction. And the whole thing with having to constantly move your rabbit behind. Like, I didn't use the video for that one either for what I've done, right? I played my 10 days legit or whatever it is. But, like, it's so annoying to play it the way that it's set up that it wasn't about the puzzles. It was about me being annoyed at the gameplay. But I haven't played the other ones.
Oh, but you didn't enjoy like the open world part of it. I'm surprised that it's not like the sandbox or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Don't you two start with that.
I thought it was kind of cool. I thought it was kind of cool with like that it was like had some puzzles, but if you didn't feel like doing the puzzles, there's like a whole world you could go explore and then come back to the puzzles if you want to.
They lost me there because there's that one achievement to get all the power ups in bunny parking. And the way you do that is on one part of the stage, there's a farm and there are carrots growing there and there's a golden carrot. You pick up the golden carrot, you walk to this area where there's like, I don't know, some kind of cult festival of food going on or something. And you give the carrot to one of the rabbits and it gives you a certain power up. So one makes you big, one makes you faster, and one makes you jump really high. Whichever one was the bunny in the middle was impossible for me to give the carrot to. I must have walked over 20 times to give this bunny this carrot. And you don't move particularly well in the game. So it was just like that open world stuff was annoying. I just wanted to play the core game or sandboxy stuff. I don't know. We'll talk to TA about genres.
Yeah, I do have one last recommendation for you. Like seriously, a game I think you would enjoy because if you enjoy trying to figure it out. There's a game that I think is that right level where you don't really need a guide, and it's actually challenging enough that it's rewarding when you actually achieved it, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called Underland.
Okay,
and
I'm not familiar with that.
It's basically a game where you have to get from point A to point B, and it's just a enjoyable little play through. It's not worth much. It's like 1100 TA, and it's a 1 to 2 hour completion. But it's you'd like it. I think.
Oh, cool.
I would recommend that too.
Thank you for the recommendation.
I will.
I just wanted to shout out real quick what I did pick as my worst choice. And it's a game called Adventure Pop. And it's one of these, it looks sort of like Bust-A-Move style, where there's like a pointer and the pointer matches a whole bunch of things and they fall to the ground. The gameplay was kind of off, but fine, whatever. What made the game offensively bad is that there is a point, it was a free to download game where there was a store where you'd have to buy power-ups if you wanted to have a better chance to get through the stages. Okay, fine, I understand monetization. But there was one level that was actually impossible to defeat without getting an item from the store. And then, with no notice, they shut down the store. So there is no actual way to get through. There's no way to earn in the game these abilities. There's no way to like get lucky and finally get there. Like Frozen Freefall is also a free-to-play game that has some impossible stages. But there was a daily login bonus where hopefully you'd get an extra use of your special. There is nothing like that in Adventure Pop. So I don't even know if it's still on the store anymore. I know it's easy enough to look up, but if it is, it's still free. Don't do it. Just don't, because there's a wall that you can never get past. And that's just unforgivable. And
it has been removed.
Okay.
So.
Like mercifully.
That's the worst. I can deal with being bad at something, but making it actually impossible, that's a whole other level of bad.
All right. That is very bad. I actually played my first bunny game, Elroy. It's called Soku Bunny. And
that's another one. That's good.
Like, first of all, what's the significance of the Soku prefix? Is that like the type of puzzle game where you move boxes around?
It might be, actually. I don't know. I always thought it was like he was socking them, like he was kicking them, socking them.
Yeah,
sock a bunny.
Yeah, I wound up getting like 1,500 of the 3,000 gamer score, and I didn't even play the main part of the game yet. There's a lot of title update quick points.
Yeah,
but yeah, I could see you liking those games because they're pretty terrible but have good gamer score. Good games.
Well, I'm sorry if you had said, but Soko Bunny is what type of puzzle game? Because that's the whole point of these bunny games, right? Bunny Mahjong.
I can't even describe.
Bunny parking.
There's just these boxes, and you need to push them onto the right squares.
That's a Sokoban game. Those
Sokoban.
Games where you Sokoban, right? So when you're pushing crates into places, so Soko Bunny, it's actually kind of a clever portmanteau of the two.
There you go. That's why we have you around. All right, that question we got more mileage out of that than I expected. Thank you, Free. And we will move on to the games showcase. Nate, you're up.
All right. The game I'm going to talk about is called Last Stop. Now, this is by publisher Annapurna Interactive. So, especially when it was released in 2021, July, that this is a game that I'm interested in checking out. And I dove it, and I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of cool. But this game does something weird. In that you are playing 3 storylines. And these 3 storylines are broken up into 6 chapters each. And you have to play them in any order you want, as long as you play all of the first chapters, and all the second chapters, and all the third chapters. So you'll play like storyline, chapter 1, story 1, story 2, story 3. I just went down from left to right. Story 1, story 2, story 3. And then go to chapter 2, story 1, story 2, story 3. And they keep continuing. And at some point, these stories will make sense. They will intermingle. And they will, at the very end, it feels like there won't be a conclusion. I was on chapter 5. I was like, for each of these, I was like, I just don't see this being concluded here in this next chapter. You get to chapter 6, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way this is being concluded. I'm not satisfied. And then you find, oh, okay, there's this final chapter, which is one story. It combines the 3 together, and it kind of gives you a resolution. It kind of makes sense at that point. So I was kind of happy with that from a story standpoint. The game allows you to make a whole bunch of decisions. So as conversations are happening, you can choose a couple of, I think 3 different options you can choose. Sometimes those decisions have ramifications. And sometimes those things will either get you an achievement or they won't get you an achievement. And sometimes there will be little mini games that aren't related just to the conversations. So you have to do a button pressing kind of music game. There was another one where you are throwing a bottle, throwing bottles at items, and you have to hit. And if you miss, it's not a huge deal. If you're quick enough, you can quit and restart. And if that mini game isn't too far into that section of that story, you can play that chapter again and get right back to the mini game. If you happen to mess up, don't worry. Just keep playing the game. You'll get to the very end. You can then do a chapter select. You can go back and pick up anything that you didn't get on your first playthrough. I did this, of course, because it's leaving Game Pass at the end of the month. So that was my impetus to do it now. So I dove it way when it first came out, because that's what I like to do. Something hits Game Pass, I like to do the sniff test. And then I then got distracted by something shiny. Well, it's leaving, so I went back to it. And then I always feel like these games, they do better when you're not following a walkthrough. Like, you don't want to follow the walkthrough because I want to enjoy this thing. But I also then have to balance that with, I don't want to play this thing 2 or 3 times. Like, I want to play it one time, get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and then just do cleanup. I looked at the walkthrough. The walkthrough actually does a really good job of not spoiling any story. It kind of gives you a heads up of, okay, well, here's a place where you're going to make a whole bunch of decisions, do whatever you want. But when you get to this thing, choose this option. So the walkthrough on TA is really good for that. I didn't miss anything because of the walkthrough, and I didn't get any of the story ruined, really. They do kind of warn you a little bit about some story elements, but if you don't care, obviously you're just going to go right through it. But if you do care, the walkthrough does a pretty good job. I eventually got to the point where I was just skimming the walkthrough, looking for anything in bold. I was like, okay, I got to do that. I'll pay attention. But yeah, so the achievements are pretty much, you get an achievement every time you finish a chapter per story. Then most chapters per story also have like a secret little achievement. One actually has 2, a couple have none. Yeah, that's the game. It took me 8 hours and 44 minutes. I had to go back and do cleanup of 2 chapters that I didn't get the miscellaneous achievement in the middle of. And that was just because they were skill based and I wasn't paying attention. Like it said, okay, don't hit a wrong note in this music minigame. I was like, well, what buttons do I press? So I was like playing with the buttons at the beginning of the game. There's no notes on the board, but that apparently counted as a wrong note. I was like, crap. So I ended up having to do that one again. And there was another one where you had to pick certain conversation choices, and I didn't do it right. So somehow I missed it. So I went back and redid that one, and it was fine. But the game is good. I really liked some of the storylines. I really disliked some of the elements of the story. But all in all, this was a really good game. It's another good Annapurna game. Really kind of pulls you in. I played this over a series of, I want to say 3 nights, 3, maybe 4 nights. That's when I did the bulk of the play. And I was pretty happy with it overall. And I would not save this for the very end because just, get it done kind of early. You've got a little bit of time. So, yeah, take a look at it.
How many tries did it take you to throw those stupid bottles?
Actually, because I got to that point. That's in the first chapter, I think, or the second chapter of the third story. And I think I didn't get it my first time because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But then I started, when I looked at the guide, I was like, I have to do this. So I threw the one bottle, paused it, looked to see where the next one was in the guide, went ahead and did that. And I think I lucked out because I think there were 1 or 2 tricky ones. And I actually thought I missed. There's like a box you had to hit. I thought I missed the box. To me, it looked like I missed it, but I got the achievement. So I was like, okay, done. I'll take it.
Yeah, that one was, the restart on that was just annoying enough because you had to watch her run all the way across town and then have it was just long enough into the chapter that it was super annoying because it took me I think I got it on the 5th or 6th try. I mean,
there's a lot of walking and talking, and so you make conversation as you're walking, and there will be obvious places you can't go. Like you'll be walking up against an invisible wall, but you'll be walking on these same streets pretty frequently, so you kind of get used to, I'm going to go around this corner, I'll go around that corner, or I'll cross the street here. But yeah.
So this game is developed by Variable State, who also developed Virginia.
Yes.
And I know you've played that as well. So would you draw similarities between them? Does it feel like they kind of share the same DNA? They're both narrative in a sense, it seems like, or are they pretty distinct? So your feeling towards one might not color the feelings toward the other.
Well, I would say that since I think a lot of people did not like Virginia, I would say don't let that keep you from playing Last Stop. There is DNA that's familiar. The pacing and the emotions that they kind of get out of you, they like to drop you in the middle of a story in Virginia. Like there's cut scenes. You go from this to this cut to this cut to this cut. That kind of happens in Last Stop as well. They kind of drop you in the middle of stuff. They don't always have a huge setup for everything they're doing. You'll be in the middle of one activity and then boom, the workday's over, that sort of thing. So it's not as abrupt as it is in Virginia. I think it's a really good take or enhancement on that, or evolution of storytelling from Virginia.
Okay.
Which storyline did you find yourself enjoying the most? I'm just curious.
Oh, probably the first one.
Yeah, I like that one the best.
Yeah, so
are you talking about the 2 dad thing?
Yeah, the father, his daughter, and the neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so there's 3 stories. There's a father, there's a daughter, there's a neighbor. The other story is a professional, kind of like secret spy, homeland security type lady, and her family life. And then there is this group of friends in a bad situation. And somehow those 3 stories intersect. But that's Last Stop.
All right, get on
Last
that
chance.
while you can. Yeah. Elroy, you're up, bud.
All right. I am not going to talk about an amazing game that everyone should play that involves some amphibians, but instead I want to talk about the obvious second choice here is no other than a game that I played a long time ago, back when I was a completionist of some sort. I'm not really sure. It's a very dirty game. And by dirty, I mean the initials are DIRDE. And that, of course, is Dead Island Riptide Definitive Edition. So I played this game literally like almost a decade ago on the 360, and then I bought it because it was on sale for like $10. Not because I particularly wanted to play it again, but then I started feeling a little nostalgic towards it, and I thought, well, maybe I should. And then it may or may not have accidentally got put on my tag by an achievement factory, and so then it was official, and so then it somehow got parlayed onto the RTDL, and what better excuse to play it at that point? So I decided I'd see if the magic was still there, and I played it and kind of started off with it. And if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like one of those early on like just zombie killing games. It's not. It's kind of like a laid back zombie killing game. It's not like in your face like some of these games where it's just, you're just surviving, and it's more of you're just going on this cool little adventure. There's zombies trying to kill you, sure, and you just, as long as you have weapons, you can just keep them at bay. Actually, there's just one trick. I'll tell you how to beat the game. Just kick everything. I'm serious. Just play think it's like FIFA or something, and you have a kick attack. All you gotta do is just kick them, and then they slows them down, kick them again, they fall on the ground, and then you can just curb stomp them, and you won't have any problems with weapon maintenance, and you just max out your kicks, and it's amazing. You just get these quads of steel. You're like Quadzilla out there. You're like kicking zombies downstairs and just stomping them with one. I mean, that's how you beat the game real easy. But anyway, it's a Techland game. They are the Dead Island, Dying Light, Juarez people, and so 76,000 people played the 360 version, 42,000 played the definitive edition. It's pretty comparable in terms of how it was received. 3.64 stars versus 3.58. The definitive edition's only a couple dollars more. And there's probably a reason why the similarities exist, because as I was playing through it, I was excited to see some real remastered stuff on it, and see some more lifelike zombies or something. I don't know what the definitive edition. I mean, it sounds really super fancy, right? So I was excited to play it, and I played it, and it was like, this is If I was guessing, I'm not placing accusations here, but if I was guessing, I'm thinking that probably they just used the same game from the 360 and just kind of put a different label on it, and seriously, it looked the same. Like it's that clunky 360 look to it, and all the characters had those lifeless eyes that just kind of stare off and into space, and all the textures kind of just it just wasn't good, and I enjoyed it only because I really enjoyed the first one, and I just like the laid backness of it. It was just wandering around this island, and all it is just fetch quests. Like you finish one fetch quest, and someone else needs something. Oh, shocker! You go get that, and then man, someone else just remembers something else they lost. Oh my goodness, let me go find it for you. And then man, this dude he's a junkie and he needs a fix. Let me go to where the dealer was and kill the zombie dealer and get his drugs for him. He'll give me a nice weapon, and then it's just like fetch quest over and over again, and you can advance the main story and everything. But the important thing is just kick everybody in the face and enjoy it, and that's it. That's really all I wanted to say about it, because I definitely don't want to talk about a different game.
Which one? Battletoads?
I
mean, you mentioned the game with amphibians. I don't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
think you're a little confused, but that's okay.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am. Dang, yeah, you're right. I don't know why I thought they were amphibians.
You gotta say like Shredder, you wretched reptiles. Come on, that's how you remember.
Yeah. No,
Go ahead, Michelle.
That's a very important distinction. Yeah. I'm sure there's reptiles in Dead Island. Yeah, Riptide, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to know that I have a well-documented dislike for Dead Island. But one of the reasons is actually what you're talking about. Like when we played years ago, when we played the first Dead Island game, I picked the character that was supposed to be good with firearms, right? Like in theory, they had better firearm statistics. It did not matter. Did not matter one bit at all. You still ran up and kicked everything because it was the only thing that worked.
Oh like, just kick them.
It just. I know there are people who like Dead Island, but it was.
I am one of them.
I am not.
And I couldn't tell you a single one of the characters' names. I know that probably surprised you, but that was the chick with the gun.
yes, that was the female character.
The chick with the gun. Then you have the Asian lady. You got the football player.
Oh, there were two in that one.
And then you got the rapper dude.
That's right.
Yep.
The only thing about that song that was good was the song at the beginning, and that was like ironically. So it's just.
Oh, the song, the
voodoo. Yeah.
The voodoo, yeah. That was the first one, and
but I never played Riptide, and I'm unsurprised to hear that the complete lack of variance between the characters, even though they bother to say there is a difference, still persisted.
All right, so
that's all I wanted to
add. I'm gonna throw.
Sorry to step over your transition.
I don't know if you want any spoilers here, but the first one was about them trying to get off an island, right? And so they were trying to get in a boat, and then they get in a boat. Well, in the second one, they were on that boat, and then they were on another island. They crashed into an island, and then they had to get another boat to get off that island. And you're never going to guess how it ends. They crash into another island. So, spoiler.
Such a Gilligan's move.
It's like, seriously, that's the whole premise of both of the games. So, yeah.
How do you feel about games where the enemies level up with you? Like, doesn't that defeat the purpose of you yourself leveling up?
Yeah, that was actually probably my worst example of that. I'm not a fan. That's the whole purpose, is you get, where you can just one-shot everything. Yeah. And that was the case. One of many
problems with Dead Island, besides the going through floors and losing our save data. Yeah, that. That problem was most evident to me in that Assassin's Creed, the Greece one, where you're or Athens or wherever the Roman one.
Oh yeah, I was thinking the musical.
Yeah.
Then it would be a good game.
Right, that one, and I remember that was the game where they thought they'd be all clever and allow you to create user-created levels, and they didn't think that achievement hunters couldn't be responsible with such thing, and so they made like these achievement levels, and so I thought, oh my gosh, this is my chance. I'll just level up my character real quick, and then I'll just walk through the game, and I needed to kill all these beasts for an RTDL achievement. And the freaking beasts, like, I think it made them mad or something. Like, they were, like, even ridiculously leveled up. And it didn't work. My strategy didn't work there. So, yes, I'm not a fan of that. That's pretty low. But, yeah, you're right. That's I never really associated that with Dead Island. But, yeah, they do, for sure. But you can still kick the crap out of them. And you just kick them, man.
So, what you're saying
you, like,
is that Dead Island is a beat 'em up.
It is a beat 'em up, man. Like, and you you go to these workbenches and you have to repair your weapons. You should have to repair your shoes is what you should have to repair. You should find different shoes. But your shoes never wear out. This lead pipe wears out, but not your shoes after you ran through the entire swamp kicking everything that moves. So yeah, that's Dead Island. That's the Dead Island experience. It's kind of like FIFA.
All right, Michelle, save us. What do you got for us?
I get to go. Okay, so I'm gonna. I'll be talking about. What's that?
I don't know.
Well, I'm going to be talking about a game that features a lot of green. And that's because the main character's name is Jade, and that is Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh.
Beyond Good and Evil first came out in 2003 on the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube and so on and so forth. At the time, it was really considered one of the top, like, best developed, amazing games ever, very critically well received, but regrettably was not commercially well received. Fast forward about a decade later, a little less than that, and an HD remaster was released onto the Xbox Live Arcade. So I know, Elroy, you do not acknowledge this as a real game, but I promise you it was at some point.
I was just looking it up. I was like, what is up with all these Ubisoft fake games? Like, this is the second one that's come up today. I don't know.
But Beyond Good and Evil is a game I shied away from playing for a long time on Xbox because the default controller inversion inverts both the Y and X axis. So yes, everyone knows I'm the strange person that does the inversion of Y all the time, but I can't handle the inversion of X as well, and it made the game pretty much unplayable. And forever, people like Ell, people like Spaceman have been like, well, just make a setting for it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's effort. And finally, I did, because my brother, who has a savant-like tendency with video games, like the games he knows, was like, well, if you want to play it, I'll walk you through it. And I was like, oh, well, okay. So we're playing it together, but this isn't like we're discovering it together necessarily. He's sort of like, oh, you see this thing over here? Do that. And it's been awesome because it's allowing me to experience the gameplay, and I'll be like, oh, I see this thing here. Should I do that? And he'll kind of advise me like, well, you can, but this isn't the best time. It's so much more effective than watching a video. So if you need a Sherpa for Beyond Good and Evil, I will let you speak with my brother because he can absolutely do that for you. But in the game, you play as a character named Jade. Jade is, she lives on this island where she protects these kids that are being raised there. And there's this attack right at the beginning of the game. And then some of the kids get kidnapped and you're on your quest to go save them. And of course, there's all sorts of intrigue with it. Like, are the people who've been trying to help rescue really the good guys? Are they the bad guys? And one of the other hooks in the game is that you have a camera, and throughout the game, you take pictures of the different wildlife in the game. And that's where playing with my brother has been very helpful, because he'll be like, oh, do you see this cow there? Zoom in on the cow's nose. That's the one space where you can find the Rayman mosquito and take a picture of it. So that's actually been a lot of fun. Beyond Good and Evil is very much a game of its era. So it has all of the bad points of it, where the camera is sometimes a little weird, the combat could be a little more varied. But if you look at it in 2003, shoes and eyes and whatever else, it's really very, very good. I find that my memory of the game is a little complicated. I know I played it almost 20 years ago, but I didn't play as much of it as I thought I did. The part that we just got up to is probably my last memory of the game, and everything else beyond this is going to be new to me. So I'm excited to see how the rest of the story plays out. Unfortunately, this is a game where the sequel, or prequel, I guess they actually announced that Beyond Good and Evil 2 is going to be a prequel game. It's just been in limbo. They announced this, they officially announced Beyond Good and Evil 2 at E3 2017, I think. And I think for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much considered done. The person who developed it's no longer with Ubisoft. The game was initially pitched as a trilogy that clearly didn't happen, and it's really a shame, because it would be cool to see Beyond Good and Evil realized in the modern environment that it could be, and seeing some of these things that really look beautiful and amazing and play great with modern cameras and stuff that work within video games. As it is an Xbox Live Arcade game, it only has 12 achievements. And one of the things that turns people away from Beyond Good and Evil, besides the fact that it only has 200 gamer score, is that a whole bunch of them are marked as missable. And this is true, but to my understanding, that's because of two things. It's because there is a point of no return, but you also should keep in mind, or should know, that even though these are missable, most of them are for collecting a certain number of things where you don't have to complete all of them. So there are these items you pick up to give you extra hearts. You have to pick up 10, the game has 13. So you have opportunities to miss some things and get to explore on your own. And there is a point where you can't go back. And I think it's pretty clearly marked for you. So I'm really enjoying it. This is something where if it's randomly in your backlog, or you bean dived it a while ago, give it a look and check it out, because it's been fun to go back to. And I think it's relatively inexpensive at this point because it might have been one of the discounted ones. I'm not even sure, but it's a great game.
$10.
Oh, is it 10 still? Okay, I thought it might have been.
The good the good news is though, for GT3 option fan, this is an action adventure game. I just thought I'd let him know. Okay.
Well, there you go, and it is backwards compatible, so you can go ahead and and look, the latest news article on True Achievements is the E3 2017 rumor roundup, which included the little mini teaser trailer. All they showed about Beyond Good and Evil 2 was this little trailer with the main character and one of the other important players within Beyond Good and Evil sitting on the back of a car. So yeah, I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm very happy to be going back to it, hoping to wrap it up, maybe before the next time we record. It's been a nice trip down memory lane.
It was $2.99 on sale as recently as June 7th, so it does go on sale from time to time. So,
and there is a walkthrough on True Achievements for Beyond Good and Evil, and it seems to be pretty good. It walks you through exactly where you need to be. It highlights when you can take photos of things. Make sure to enumerate exactly which one of the collectibles, like this is collectible 4 of 13 or whatever else, so you know exactly where you are within the game. Beyond Good and Evil is 8 to 10 hours if you're playing it, trying to get everything, but I think you can kind of speed through it in a little less. But it's worth taking your time with and actually just exploring all the environments. It's not really that big an environment because it is still a game that was originally developed in 2003.
Now, one of the 12 achievements is called Kicking Asterisks, and there's a nice picture of a foot, kicking something. And so I'm just wondering if this was the precursor to Dead Island, or because you said they lived on an island, and
that they do. That one's there's just a certain enemy type, but I'm glad you you noted that, because the most effective way to kill them is actually they have like a pack on their backs, and it's to hit the pack on the back, so they're sort of running around, and then to kick them, and so I suppose that's why they designed the achievement that way.
Yeah, I mean, it works.
Oh, I really thought it was called Kicking Asterisks. That would have been funny.
Well, it is. I mean, if you're going to
now I see it.
Literally, yes.
That's too funny. All right. Well, now the reason we are all here, of course.
Oh, yeah.
To hear me fanboy or fantoidle about...
I like turtles.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. Now, when news came out about this game, our Thursday crew was like, all right, as soon as it comes out, we're stopping what we're doing, and we are playing this. Which, thank God, it made us stop playing Back 4 Blood and Farm Together, because this is way better than all of those games. And then, as luck would have it, as I said last week, they, out of nowhere, said this is 6 players online. And holy cow, we found... Rocker Dude actually invited himself to play with us, knowing that I was part of this, knowing what a huge Turtles fan I was and am. And Michelle's brother rounds it up our usual crew of me and Michelle and Prue and Fufu Cuddly Poop. And it is a 6-player beat 'em up. And when you are playing in 6 players, it is chaotic as can be. It is crazy. You can play as the 4 turtles. Raphael's, of course, is the best one. He's got the best stats, and he's just the coolest. And you can play as Splinter and April, who learned Kung Fu along the way. And when you beat the game, you unlock a 7th character. I don't know how much we can delve into spoilers here, but I think it's okay. Because I mean, the achievements
it follows it follows the same premise of every Turtles game that's been produced so far.
It does, but it's a little different in that it has an overworld similar to Super Mario Brothers 3D and Super Mario World. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how it works in the single player. I guess it's the same. You travel from stage to stage, right? And it tells you how many collectibles you have, how many of the challenges you've done. The challenges are not needed for achievements, but I believe you get experience, which you do need for the achievements, so they are fun to do. As we are recording this, like when we started recording this, over an hour ago, there was about 57,000 starters on this game. While we've been recording, now we're up to over 59,000, almost 60,000 starters on this game. I am so excited. People, this must be a good word of mouth game. I think I saw it made it to the top 10 of the top played games on Xbox.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, Fortnite, Apex Legends, the usual heavy hitters, and then Toidos is up here. Yeah, so when we first played, I was like, listen, I really don't want to look at the achievement list. Let's just play. And I know Corey was excited to look at the list, and Prue looked at the list, and you know, there's a lot of achievements. There's 30, right? I think. And you get achievements for beating each stage. There's a lot of stages. This game is a lot longer than I expected it to be. It is about 2 hours. And you know, the original was maybe 45 minutes to an hour tops, if that. But that was, of course, the arcade game. And it wanted your quarters. This game just wants you to have a good time. If you watched the old cartoon, every single character you could think of is in this game. Even characters you don't remember are in this game. There were characters that I did not remember from the show, but I remembered the action figures existing. Such as, I don't know, Chrome Dome. And then there was like, was it Dirtbag maybe? There was Mole Man. That's something else. Yeah, there was the Bull. Who's the Bull? Oh, I always forget.
Meatloaf or something. Roast beef. I forget.
Oh my god. So
and they had the Triceratops. They had all that stuff.
Yeah. So there's a lot of nods to the old arcade game. Every enemy from there is in there. You know, from the Mousers to the freezing traps and all that kind of stuff. As soon as we saw a car in the background, we were like, "Okay, this car's gonna move and try to run us over. Just get out of the way." So there's a lot of that stuff, and we all just were so giddy and we're full of laughs and had a great time. 6 players. There were some negative things that happened in our time playing. We had some wonkiness playing in 6 players, where all of a sudden we would be split up, and we were like, "Okay, I'm just here with one other turtle," and then the other person was like, "Okay, I'm over here fighting. Where are you guys?" So there were a couple times where we had to exit out and start over again. But the great thing is that the progress was saved, so we didn't lose really anything. We just had to go back in, and you could just do drop in and drop out during play, so you don't even have to get together during the main menu. You could just go right in. So that's wonderful. Now, I've heard that you could use this to your advantage and try to join random games and try to get random achievements, such as like beating the game using 1 credit or on hard mode and stuff like that. People are saying that they just joined random games and they got hard achievements. And the game also has crossplay, so you could play with people on other platforms like the Switch, and I assume the PlayStation and Steam and all that stuff. And there's also Play Anywhere. You could, Corey reported that he was playing on his laptop, and it worked perfectly. So yeah, as you could tell, I'm pretty excited about this one. Our second foray, we actually did go for a couple of achievements. There's one for getting all the cameos, so all the different people. So there is a solution that tells you which stages to go to. That's one that was a little weird online. So the host always got credit for it, and then the person that actually finds the person in the cameo also gets credit. So you could use that knowledge to get it done for 2 people at a time if you want to play with 6 people. Or of course, I guess you could split up into pairs also. But we didn't do that because we knew we needed experience anyway, since the grindiest achievement is to max level all the turtles. But unlike Castle Crashers, this will be fun to go through multiple times. But Prue was telling us, that he said people were going through the first stage over and over. That's boring. Just play through the game. One thing
if you play through with a character, you're gonna get a level 10 out of it. I mean,
did you get a level 10?
Yeah, mine was level 10 by the time I think I was on stage 13. I think.
Really?
And it was
maybe
I was
solo.
Just playing normal. I did.
I assume you played solo.
I replayed one stage where I missed a collectible, and by the time I got to 13, I had it. So.
There's a reason for that though, because you were doing challenges as you're going. And those challenges do give you experience. They give you extra experience. So if you go through on a second character, those challenges are already done.
Oh,
unless
really?
you reset the game. Yeah, you can reset the game, but keep your experience, and then you'll be able to do those challenges again on your second character and get bonus XP for those.
Oh,
that's a good tip. Yeah.
How do you reset the game?
Yeah, that.
Like to leave your save.
You just choose new game instead of continue.
Oh, excellent.
And you do get to keep your power level.
Okay.
There's it asks you. It says, do you want to reset everything or do you want to keep your experience? So you can keep your character experience. Now that does mean though that you won't be able to just jump to level 16.
Right.
You're gonna have to earn your way all the way back or join somebody else.
So if you were on the level or beating the game with everyone achievement, you can apparently just load up the level 16 and then just knock it out. You don't have to replay the whole game.
Yes, you can. Correct.
Right. And so, but one thing I wanted to add on this is that probably the thing I liked the most about it was that they really kind of tried to design it to the one that we all love, the 89 one, where the design, it was purposely kind of ruggedish, like 16-bit-ish, I guess. It's not like super graphic heavy or anything like that. It's designed to look, which could be because it's doing this multiplayer thing, but it's really has that feel of the original one, and that's really cool. And they use the style for the characters like back in the day. They didn't use this, because I see some of these games where the characters are all weird, where they like give Donatello like a blockhead and they're trying to make them all look different and all this other stuff, where it's not just whatever's around their eyes. It's like they typically are supposed to look the same, right? And so I do like that they went with the classic El Clasico design, and that was really cool. And the stages, you said it's a longer game where it's like a 2-hour playthrough, but most of the stages can be beat in about 6 minutes or somewhere around there. They're not the long. Stages don't outlast their welcome. They're pretty succinct, I think. And there's a lot of collectibles, you said, but the collectible, it's laughable. It's not really a collectible. I mean, I only missed 2, and I wasn't even really looking for them.
If you smash everything, you find them all. I don't think we missed.
You're right. You find them. There's one stage where I don't know how I missed one, and then the second one was the character. I had no idea who she was. It was some chick that was collecting crystals or something, and she was like hidden in some little rice drum or something. I don't know what it was. It looked like something you'd see on a farm. I don't know what it was, like a pipe of some sort. I didn't know you could demolish the pipes at the top of the level, so I missed her. So yeah.
Oh, that was one of the cameos. That one. Right?
Yeah, the cameo, but it counted as a collectible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well,
those were the neutrinos, okay, and they're from Dimension X, okay.
I don't remember that at all.
They're very integral to the first season. So yeah, if you watch the first season, it's only 5 episodes, and then the arcade game was
the first season.
Yeah, the
like
first.
You're talking about the original.
The original first season was only 5 episodes, and that's what the '89 arcade game was based off of, because that's all that was out at that time. So they did a really good job without really knowing.
Man, I don't remember those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
They were on.
I don't remember them at all.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because you're.
I'm
slightly cooler than I
guess. But I mean, there was a lot of weird stuff on it. So, in leading into this, you did make an offhand comment that I took offense with, which is
I tried.
Right, where you were bad mouthing the purple foot soldier. And so that was actually something I was going to bring up, which is I was trying to figure out if there was some kind of belt system for the foot soldiers. It's all based in martial arts and stuff, and traditionally there's a belt system of some sort. And basically, if the foot soldier shows expertise, do they get a different color, what is it, Komodo or whatever it is? So there's just whatever that's called, robe. I don't know, whatever you call it.
A gi?
And gi, yeah, that.
There you go.
Yeah, not butter, but gi.
Right.
It wasn't the foot soldier he was denigrating, though. It was Donatello.
Yes, shh, quiet.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the purple foot soldier. And,
no, I like to make fun of Donatello because he's a nerd.
Oh, okay. Well, if you were hypothetically making fun of the purple
go ahead.
Foot soldier, the purple foot soldier gets a bad rap. Mm-hmm. Sure, they're like always the first enemy that you kill, and they just walk up and accept their fate. But are they any worse than some of these other ones? Like the lime green one, like literally all they do is just run across the screen with a spear, and if you jump over them, they run into nothing and seem confused, and then you just, it like disables them. They run into air with their spear. I think that the purple foot soldier is on a higher plank than them. Plus the purple ones operate all the machinery. Do you notice that? They're on the little punchy crab things that are kind of a pain to kill. I don't know what those things are called. The mechanical spider crab looking things.
I thought them as spider bots. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are purple foot soldiers.
Now, more
on top of
those. Who are the foot soldiers that man the sushi bar? And next time you play, they're all in the background.
Apparently.
And the pizza place.
Yeah, apparently the go-to job, I would argue, is the carnival barker, because clearly the black gied foot soldier is the top of the class. It's either that or the white one. I don't know. It's white or the black ones here. And the carnival barker was wearing the black gi. So I assume that means that's the most sought after job, and that only one that is at that level is eligible.
Okay, well,
I have other observations. What the heck was up with the warthog and rhino thing running across the zoo? Like that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So you have Bebop and Rocksteady. Yeah, one's a warthog, one's a rhino. So what is up with why did there have to be a rhino and a warthog stampeding in the zoo? Why couldn't it have been like a caribou and or a giraffe or that'd been hard to jump over, but like a water buffalo or why does it? That didn't even make sense. Like they're not even like why would. I don't know. That bothered me. I didn't understand the significance of that.
You'll have to watch the first season to understand.
Okay, so were those like Bebop Rocksteady's
family members
experiments gone wrong?
Yeah, that's
it's all of this is the first. Okay, also probably
kind of what it is.
Also probably in the first season was what was up with the level 8? Uh-huh. Level 8 was a sky level. Like the music has all been kind of consistent in the whole game, and then all of a sudden you get to level 8 and there's like some weird like Power Ranger song playing in the background, and it's like I don't know what they were singing about, but it sounded like something straight out of the Power Rangers, like the Go Power Rangers, and go back and replay level 8. The music does not match the rest of the game. It was really odd, almost as odd as when all of a sudden you stumble upon Shredder and he's listening to hip hop music. I think it sounded like the Hoodoo Voodoo song. Maybe it was. I'm not sure. It's funny that you brought up that song earlier, because I thought that's the song it reminded me of, was the Hoodoo the Voodoo funny. Thing. And so take a special listen there too. And then
what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I had several observations on this game.
Well, actually, I think the Wu-Tang Clan contributed some of the music. So
the Power Rangers song?
No, not the Power Rangers. What I was going to say, when you play 6 players, it's actually kind of hard to listen to the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is generally one of the favorite parts of a lot of these games to me. So I was just going to point that out.
It was good. It was good. It was just odd choices for those two parts.
The Shredder breaking out his 80s style boombox and listening to some Wu-Tang.
Some Dead Island songs. But they also, what was the point of the challenges? There was no achievements. I guess it was just to get experience,
mm-hmm.
I guess.
And something else to do,
but
I guess.
But it seemed odd that they put all that effort into making these challenges that have 0 achievements tied to it. You don't have to get them all. Like,
no, you don't.
I don't know. I just thought that was odd.
No, but you said you got to level 10, but we didn't get to level 10 until 2 playthroughs, really. So maybe you get more.
Were you turning in the quest and all that?
Yeah, I mean, maybe
you
get more
XP
enemies
is
alone.
Based on the number. The XP is based on the number of enemies you kill.
Right. So in our group,
that explains why I didn't get that.
hit level 10 pretty much right at the beginning of the second time we played, and I hit level 10 in the second stage. And I think even though there are more enemies, I imagine, on screen if you have 6 players, they're not an actual multiple of 6. So you're spreading that much between you're spreading a higher amount of point, but across a larger group. So I think that accounts for some of that.
Well, that's also what they said on the little walkthrough thing, is that if you're trying to just kind of run through it fast, is to start up a single player game but add a bunch of dummy controllers and to just kill everyone. So,
right.
Yeah. So I think that's what that first level thing is all about.
So that makes more enemies come?
Yeah, if you just add a bunch of dummy controllers on it.
I thought a comment on TA said that it maxes out at 2. So it's really only worth it to do with the second controller if you're trying to do that.
Oh, okay. I just kind of glanced at it.
I'm glad.
You should check though. I might be getting that wrong.
All
right.
So
I've actually played this game for F Word for now, and checking out the achievements a little later. Yeah, they'll come in due time. They'll come. But would you play with other people, Elroy? Would you jump into a random game?
Yeah, that's.
With randoms or with, God forbid, people you know.
That's what I'm missing. I'm missing all the multiplayer stuff and then the arcade stuff. I just went through the normal route.
You tell Kelly that you have a date with Big L and his posse, and we're gonna play some Toils.
Yeah. I had a question on this. So, if you beat the game with a group of individuals, does it show every ending of all the characters, or does it just show you on your screen?
Yes, you get your own ending.
Okay, so you don't see all the other ones?
Right. So I guess theoretically you could probably hop into the last stage.
Not that there's much to it.
But... with each turtle, but I assume we're just going to run through it, the whole game, 6 times.
Yeah. That's
Did you have any other thoughts, Michelle or Nate? No.
The only thought I wanted to share, I guess, other than all the stuff that's already been discussed, is I think they really did a great job paying homage to what many of us feel is sort of the pinnacle of Turtles games, and still changing just enough where it feels new and different, doesn't feel too much like a copy. So even things like the pizzas in the game, so it still has your normal pizza, that's great. But now, I don't know if you experienced this when you were playing Elroy, but in multiplayer, there are these all turtle pizzas, these giant pizzas that restore everyone's health to max. And then there are also pizzas that give you infinite of your special, and another one that just gives you a spinning attack. And little things
those 2 are in there. Yeah.
Little things like that make the game feel its own, while still unabashedly being the product that we all fell in love with 30 years ago. I think was just real smart design, and part of why it's been received so well. It doesn't feel like just a carbon copy. It's longer than those games. There's the sort of overworld map where you're picking between levels, the idea of the challenges and finding the collectibles. It's just different enough where it's not overwhelming in those differences, but it once again feels like its own thing. It doesn't feel like, we're just cashing in on this previous thing. And speaking of also that sort of idea. The intro animation is amazing.
Mhm.
It is so good. Like, so just from the start, when you boot it up, like you really feel like you're there in that time, but it sounds different. There's a new version of the intro song.
Can't say I love
and throughout the game.
cover.
I'm not saying I love the cover either, but that's always going to be kind of your bias. You grew up watching those cartoons or whatever. I don't know if we can really say objectively one way or the other, but it's that motif is present throughout the entire game, where this is the new one, but we're not going to ignore where we came from either. So I thought that was just smartly done throughout.
The other thing that came to light in the last day or two was some people noticed that some of the animations they used were, we'll say, borrowed or an homage to classic fighting games, like Street Fighter and Samurai Showdown, and a lot of classic animations were used. I sent those out in the gaming news channel today. You could check those out. But they really went all out for this game, and I can't say enough good things about it.
The endings are very much like a Street Fighter 2 type in the way that, I mean, if you blink, you're gonna miss the ending. It's basically like, oh, this is what happened.
I mean, they put a story in, but it's not really in.
Yeah, would it have killed them to let
Raphael hook up with April or something? Like what?
Well, I got some thoughts on that, but I was thinking more Casey Jones. Casey Jones is there at the end in the last image that you see. Do we really want to believe that he eats pizza through a hockey mask? like, could he not take the hockey mask off or push it up or down or just put it on the couch next to him or something? Like,
but then
I had a problem with him. In the show, you know who he is. Oh, in the cartoon,
the movie, he takes his mask off. I don't think he does in the show. In the cartoon,
I thought he did.
Yeah.
No, maybe not. I don't know.
He talks like that. See.
Well, maybe he does eat through a hockey mask. That's gross, though, man. Like,
I mean, it's pizza off the floor to begin with, so you know.
It's in a box. It's in a box, I thought, but yeah. I don't know, but all right. So let's go ahead and address this April thing. So, how is it? I'm just throwing out the turtles are. I don't know. Would you classify them as superheroes, or let's just say that they've been in martial arts the whole lives, and they have the same stats as April, who is working with a microphone versus a katana, like. To me, I know, granted, yes, you have to, just kind of, it's, yes, video games, but like they could at least put it like on like a razor wire whip or something, like she's swinging this, microphone like in a whip chain style or something like that. But like, I don't know. It just, I was like, this is odd. This is a little odd. They should have added her as like a challenge character, like it has, just like 1 star where if you can get through the game with her, then you're a badass kind of a thing. I don't know. That's just how I would have played it. I mean, I don't really know much about Casey Jones. Maybe he's just some dude with a bat, but I was at least, I don't know. It just was weird to me. That's all.
Yeah, she held the microphone and mostly did karate kicks from what I could see.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, that was TMNT. Shredder's Revenge.
Well, the kick, apparently the kick is very, very, maybe she should get on Dead Island. That's all I'm saying.
I bet you'd get a kick out of that. All right. That somehow is going to be Sailway. There were a lot of crazy sales this week. An article came out on TA with the top 100 easiest games that came out this week. Usually there's about 10. I'm just going to pick some old favorites that have come up before, such as the Deponia series, normally $40 for 4 games, 90% off $4 for 4 games. Those are classic point and click in the vein that Chewy likes, the humorous ones. And On the puzzle side, the Glass Masquerade 1 and 2 bundle is $6.59 for 2 of those. Those are nice, peaceful ones. You could do a level before bed and get those done. Elroy, I hate to ask you if you chose any sale games, but I will go to you anyway.
Yeah, the Breakneck City. That one is a classic beat 'em up. If you're in for a
Michelle and I played that one co-op, and yeah, East Asia Soft. I love you, but oh my God, no.
Yeah, that was a $10 game. You saved $3 whole on it.
Oh,
yeah, that one. You really didn't like that one. I see.
I think I'll take Castle Crashers.
Well, if you're in the spirit of beat 'em ups, I definitely would say Breakneck City is it's something. It definitely happened. Cat Quest 2, that's a $15 game on sale for $7.50. It's just an RPG game. I like it because there's a bunch of cat puns in there, and they like really force it. So it's like, I have to get somewhere, right? Meow. And, like stuff like that. I mean, it's just through the whole game. Yeah. And then Drunken Fist, you can get that beauty for $4. It's normally $8. And the reason I definitely bring this up is because the sequel to it comes out this week, tomorrow, or whenever you're listening to it. It's probably already out. So you definitely got to play the first one so you understand the story of the second one, because the second one introduces zombies, and I'm sure you'll get a chance to kick them. Now, and then one just little note is there is 17 games for sale that start with the word "the." I thought that was odd.
Oh, I bet you Koosh knows something about those.
Yeah, I noticed that as well as I was going. I was like, this is a huge "the" section.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to recommend are Shantae Half Genie Hero DLC. Now, last week I recommended one DLC. This week, a different DLC is on sale. It's Friends to the End, $4 down from $8. Once again, this is a platformer game. I think it used to be a Vayner, but they changed it. Or maybe not. This is I think this is the only game in the Shantae series that is not a Metroidvania. There are 7 achievements in this DLC, and it takes about 3 to 4 hours according to TEA. Now, Shantae Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition is $15 down from $30. This is the base game and all DLC rolled into one. It's a stack. So there you go. It's also a platformer. It's not a platformer is the Innsmouth Case, which is $4.50 down from $15. This is a visual novel, but in looking through the screenshots, it looks a lot more like a traditional choose your own adventure book. So I'm actually kind of interested in this. I'm not a huge visual novel fan, especially the quick achievement money grab ones. This one looks interesting, and it's 1 to 2 hours. I believe it will require several playthroughs because, once again, it's a choose your own adventure like-ish. And that's just from the outside, not knowing anything about the game. And finally, The Gardens Between. This is $4 down from $20. It's a puzzle adventure. Takes about 1 to 2 hours if you have a walkthrough, and there is a walkthrough on TA. This game, if you did not play this on Game Pass, oh my gosh, I highly recommend this for $4. Mm-hmm. It is so cool, and it's just different. It's just out there. The game basically just, it's been a long time, but you start on one side and you kind of move through the level to the right, and there's a timeline that you're changing as you go this way or that way. You can interact with different items as you're doing that. You can then reverse time and do something different, or do a thing and then back up and then go and see what the effect of that thing was. It's a super cool game. Really stylized, and I cannot recommend that more for $4. So.
All right. Well, thank you for recommending 2 of the 17 the games. Michelle, you want to round this out?
Sure. Just very quick. I know we already touched on these games earlier, and don't think they're the best things out there. But if you want quick gamer score for low prices, both Bunny Parking and Soko Bunny are on sale They are $3 down from $6, and they're both worth 3,000 gamer score. So plenty of gamer score to be had, and not a whole lot of time if you choose to pick those up.
Awesome. All right, we'll run down the rest as quick as we can. Games with Gold, Project High Rise, Architects Edition available for the One, and Rascals available for the 360. We did get a little bit of Game Pass news today, and so we were not podcasted again. Yay! Shadowrun Trilogy is out for the Xbox One. Total War, Three Kingdoms for the PC. FIFA 22 via EA Play. And a game we talked about in our fun times last week, Naraka Blade Point, is also out. So I'm curious about that one. 60-player samurai game. Looks fun. And Far Cry 5 should be a big one, coming out on July the 1st. Leaving on June 30th are EA Sports, FIFA 20, Jurassic World Evolution, Last Stop, and MotoGP 20. In contests, the big one that just started was Warboats, and it was pretty successful. Almost 2,000 people signed up for it. A lot of people in the Discord are talking about it. We have a channel for it. If you are in Warboats, come check it out. Basically, it is not at all like Battleship. And you just have to try to sink your opponent's ships. But this time, there's a point system, and any misses deducts points. So you are encouraged to go for hits and not try to get as many as you can for misses. And the round, I believe, lasts for 2 weeks, and then you get 3 more matches. There is a community challenge badge for defeating one ship in the first round. All right, Koosh, we could do the Gamertag challenge real quick.
Nah.
Okay, we are not going to do the Gamertag challenge. In Brag Camp. We'll do this. All right, now we have Brag Camp. Michelle?
All right. In completions, we have a very brief list this week. Fisto Roboto has reached 150 completed games. Alicia has reached 800 completed games. And not to be outdone, Thrash Forever has more than doubled their combined total by reaching 1,950 completed games.
Woo! In streaks, DubD23 is currently on a 50-day win streak, as are ZZ Urban Spaceman and Dunkos. Johnny Delicious with 100 days, Z Drunken Monkeys with 350 days. Didn't realize he was German. El Sock, 700 days. Surf Biscuit with 1,000. Monkey Tim Fu, 2,050. Prue with 2,300. Mr. Gompers with 3,200. Plantain 42 with 3,250. And Mad Eye Pat Eye with 3,400 days.
God bless. All right. For some gamer score. All right.
Your favorite.
Yeah. Some Sour Viva List has 100,000 gamer score. Oh my goodness. A whole 100,000. Congratulations on your first foof.
Mm-hmm.
Neo 21 with some X's is 600,000. Black Buff has 650,000. Not to be outdone. Matthew or Math Who has 700,000. Morbid has 800,000. Enigma Gamer has 850,000. Y'all put that on there on purpose. Red 47 has 1.3 million gamer score. Now we're talking. And oh my, Thrash Forever has reached a new milestone of 2 million gamer score.
Wow, Thrash Forever.
That is great.
Man, he's just going to keep going. It's
Yeah.
in his name.
I just stalked his page to see what he hit it with. And this is new. This is a different way to hit it. The achievement is called Finally. in the game Stories Untold. And he claims that he's the 49th person on TA with 2 million gamer score. 4 years to the day that he unlocked 1 million. Wow.
Wow.
Which just goes to show you. I won't say anything negative with Elroy here, but gamer score is not what it once was. That's all I'll say. But
what?
Oh God! Sorry. It's even better. It's even better. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
In leaderboards, Chewy on Ice is in the top 100 of the England Gamer Score leaderboard. Eldris SS Enterprise is in the top 1,000 of the TA leaderboard for RPGs. Infamous is in the top 20 of the TA leaderboard for Xbox One collectible card games. Lord of Duque 69 is number 1 in the Massachusetts Gamer Score leaderboard for Adventure. Simon Rothschild is,
so
is now 3rd in the max possible completion percentage leaderboard for strategy plus turn-based. Yes, that's what these are. Good times. And Toby Lynn, my buddy, in the top 5,000 of the completed games leaderboard. Very nice.
I would like to add one.
I can't wait.
With the not amphibious reptile gamer score added to my collection, it should catapult me into the top 5 in beat 'em up gamer score in the world.
Whoa, in the world, the whole world.
Yeah. Yep. Not Massachusetts, but the world. I think, unless they were busy playing beat 'em ups today, but it should. So there you go.
All right. Thank you for bearing with us and listen to a bunch of 40-somethings talk about 1980s properties. And I had a blast. You all ready for bed? I'm ready for bed. But that was a lot of fun, guys. Check us out on...
Thanks for having me.
On Discord, first and foremost. Podcast is available on all major platforms, as well as I don't know, what do you listen to? iHeartRadio or something?
I actually checked on there today, and it is massively outdated. I'm gonna have to have some words with iHeartRadio.
They're outdated, or you're outdated?
I refreshed.
You refreshed yourself?
I think yes is the answer. I think yes is the answer.
Yes is the answer.
Okay,
yes.
But I think we need to have some words with the kind folks over at iHeartRadio.
Okay.
I wasn't iHearting it. It was not a good showing for them today.
Okay. Well, yes. Thank you for joining us, Elroy. You are a delight.
Oh man, I appreciate you inviting me on the beat 'em up special here.
It was special. All right, everybody, go kick some shell, and class dismissed.
Bye-bye.
So long.
Hello and welcome to Cooperation Nation, the show where me and Ahizo play co-op games and talk about them. I'm Vulgar Latin, and with me is Ahizo.
How's it going?
And today, we are working out our relationship differences, working on some collaboration, if you will, and talking about the 2021, I'd say smash hit, It Takes Two. It Takes Two got a ton of awards. Game of the Year at the Game Awards, I believe it was nominated, and according to the Wikipedia, developed by Hazelight Studios of A Way Out fame. This is also purely cooperative. There's no other way for you to play this game. You better have a friend.
Or at least someone you can put up with for a while. That always works too.
That too. You can work on your collaboration.
There you go.
Follows Cody and Rose as they work out their relationship differences after being turned into toys by their daughter in a magical book. And the book is the best part.
It really is. He is the best character in the entire game.
He's great. Every time he shows up, it is a real good moment. And it works if you've played A Way Out. I don't believe, Ahizo, you've played A Way Out.
I have not, no.
It's a little bit more fast-paced. So Way Out is a lot more realistic and grounded in the things that you do, like, oh, both of you need to canoe together, things like that. It Takes Two is much more fanciful and allows the gameplay elements to be a little bit more fast and kinetic in a way that I absolutely adore. There are some awesome platforming segments, and it really mixes it up. It took us, say about 12 hours to complete, is what I said on TA.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it was, four sessions maybe that we did?
Yep, 4 sessions, 6 chapters, all very different. So one of the things, because you might be thinking 12 hours sounds awful long to be doing co-op stuff, but I think one of the best things about this game is the fact that you're constantly switching mechanics between the two characters. Each level feels fresh and unique, so it never gets bogged down doing the same stuff.
Yeah, and that was one concern that I had walking in, was I kind of had an idea of how long it took just based on having talked with other people about it. And, you know, in the first chapter you get, I'm trying to remember what the ability was there. I believe that was where one of you has the hammer and the other has the magic nails. At the end of that chapter, I was kind of thinking, all right, you know, that's going to be a long game. Like, I hope we get some more so I'm not always having to use this. And we found out pretty quickly that every chapter you lose your old abilities and you get 2 brand new ones, and they are all very unique. You go from Rose having a hammer she can use to swing off the magic nails that Cody's throwing, to the last chapter where she's leaving a clone on a butt. You have to use her clones to drop on a button and then teleport back over to them. And there's just this whole spread of different abilities. But regardless of what they are, they did a really good job. They always made sure that each ability was pretty equally required to get through the chapters. There was no there was no chapter where I think either one of us was more important to the progression. And no. I thought that was really well handled with how they balanced that out.
It's almost as if it took 2.
It did.
And also what I liked about it is that, without delving into each one, because I think part of it is just the surprise of the whole thing, but they try to pick abilities that match and mesh with the 2 characters, Cody and May. Their daughter is Rose.
That's right.
They pick things that... so Cody is much more of, I would say, more of a free spirit, more freewheeling and easygoing. May is an engineer and has all of the trappings of an engineer.
She definitely, she almost comes off at a workaholic at times, and that, you know, being a big core issue, because the entire thing about this game is that it's all built around, you know, they've told their daughter they're getting a divorce, and now that they've been turned into toys, the only way to become humans again is to work out their problems. And so stuff like her working all the time, being an engineer, focusing on that, you know, is a major plot point through the whole thing, because it's obviously a source of tension between the two of them.
Resentment both ways.
Yes, very
Cody
much so.
resents May for not being there. May resents Cody for not bringing in as much money. You know, it's pretty typical. The Wikipedia, or the game's director, has a bit there where the director of the game described it as a romantic comedy, and in a lot of ways it would fit in that sort of mold.
Yeah, that sounds pretty accurate.
I think the story is one of the high notes, especially the meshing of story and gameplay elements, because I think too often you have games where it's just no gameplay at all, it takes a backseat to the story that they're trying to tell. And there's other games where, you know, the opposite's true, which, you know, there's not to say one's good or bad, but to see them really kind of work together and sort of blend all these different elements is to the game's benefit.
Yeah, and in addition to that, you know, as you're going through these, because they were, you know, they even tie in together, like all the abilities you get are relevant to the story. At the end of each chapter, you sit down with the 2 characters and this book character that we talked about,
Dr. Hakim,
which is funny because Hakim is actually an Arabic term for doctor, so his name is Doctor.
Give me the news. He's got a bad case of loving you.
Exactly. Oh, he's all about the love. He darn near tortures you guys at some points just to get the point across that, you know, you guys can still love each other and, you know, get through this all together. But anytime that you did that, there was always like a specific topic. There was some specific piece of relationships that he'd be trying to get across, and that would be the entire focus of the next chapter is, your abilities would be related to this, and the area that you're in would kind of be designed to look like it's related to that. So like trying to work together, cooperation is the big factor of the last chapter, and your whole thing here is to try and find musicians to come play a show so that May can do something with her singing career that I guess she dropped out at some point. That didn't really get brought up at all during the game and came out of nowhere. But yeah, so it all kind of worked together. The set pieces were fantastic. They really did an amazing job just making the game look beautiful.
It is very pretty. Especially my favorite parts were there's these sections where they have like rail skating.
Yeah.
Very jet grind radio. It's very kinetic, the speed that you feel. At one point when we were playing it, I said it was a better Sonic game than anything Sonic's made in years, or any 3D Sonic. And I stand by that. It's so
without a doubt.
The speed and then the swinging and all the set pieces that go along with that. I was grinning like an idiot the entire time.
Yeah, they really, you can tell that they put a lot of love into the game, and they clearly had the resources. As Mental Knight had put it when I was talking with him, it's like if you took a hidden indie game and gave it a real budget, and that's basically It Takes Two. And I completely agree with that. It feels like a full-fledged game. I would never have played it if it weren't on EA Play, but having played it now, I would definitely recommend if somebody doesn't have EA Play and they would like to play it. I do recommend it. Because I think it's like $15 or something, $20 maybe.
No, it's 40.
Oh, geez, I must have seen it on sale or something. Good Lord.
At the time we're recording it right now, it's 20.
Okay.
And if you buy it, you also get a friend pass. So you can give the game to your friend, and they can play it, so both of you don't have to spend $40 on it.
Yes, that is a really nice thing with some of these co-op games that they've started doing that, is one person buys it and you're good to go.
And yeah, I would say so. If you do the friend pass option, though, friend pass cannot get achievements, so probably just best to get EA Play. It's not that long of a game. I'll just throw that out there. If you're looking on the money side of it.
It's definitely up there as far as games that I wouldn't have paid for without them being on Game Pass, but would happily go back and pay for with hindsight. It's one of the better ones that I've played. It's probably the best EA Play game that I've had an experience with. They
had me from the jump, actually, when they said it was the same people that did A Way Out. That same guy, he started that company after the Hazelight Studios. He started that, or joined them after doing Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. So Brothers is a single-player co-op game where you're controlling two people with each of the different sticks. So co-op is almost always in the director's blood when it comes to creating games.
I'm actually surprised that that's the same people who did Two Brothers. I was not a fan of that at all.
I love Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. That game's great.
They've definitely come a long way, that's for sure. Everything in It Takes Two was a lot smoother, a lot more detailed in the artwork. It felt a lot more like a passion project than Brothers. Definitely felt like it was probably an early game from some of them and needed to be cleaned up a bit. It had a lot of potential, and I think It Takes Two is them gradually realizing that potential over time as they've gone through Brothers and A Way Out, and now It Takes Two, and I think they found their place.
They're so good that they've reached a short list of developers where I'm going to pay attention to whatever they release next. That good.
Yeah, very much so.
So looking at the achievements, though, mostly missables. So I would recommend, we went through with a guide, not to tell us exactly what to do, but just so we didn't miss anything. Not that that's 100% necessary, because there is a chapter select, and it's a pretty generous chapter select too. Some of those acts get pretty long, but they break it out to the nth degree. A lot of things for a lot of winks and nods. There's a Zelda reference in there. You have to do all the mini games. So throughout there is mini games that you can play. Cody versus May. One of them's just a full game of chess. Or you could play a race. You can race around in the ice. There's always something for you to do in between there. That's mostly just for fun, but I really enjoyed them. They're a nice, fun diversion.
Yeah.
Nothing terrible as far as the achievement list goes.
No, not at all. They actually, obviously there is the chapter select, but I think they actually handled them all really well too, because I don't think because basically what we had used for a guide was the locations of the mini games, because some of those were way out of the way, and we were having a little trouble finding them at first. But all the ones for go find this area in a certain chapter or do this vague action somewhere, you know, for the most part, you can just find a list of somebody. Like we used, I believe it was Bill's solutions on TA. He starts his solutions by saying, this is the chapter it's in, and this is the section of that chapter it's in. And then he goes on to his video. But I just went off of that. Here's the chapter it's in, here's the section. And that was enough. Everything was pretty clear to see. The descriptions were pretty decent. You know, we didn't spend a lot of time. I think the only one that I would really say is a struggle there is you have to get to a tower at the top of a very annoying platforming section, but you can cheese it by just getting to the beginning of the next section where you're given birds to fly on, and you just fly back over the gate and go fly up to the top of the tower, which was awesome.
But man, I almost made it. I almost did.
We almost made it so many times, and then we were like, we're going to do this for real. This is going to be great. Everyone's talking about how you can just cheese this. I'm like, nah, we're going to do it. Yeah, no, never mind. We're not going to do it.
No, we're just going to fly up there. It's much easier to do it that way.
Yep.
And I would recommend it. Though, by all means, give it a shot. I would say, yeah, you just get yourself a friend with EA Play and have a time with this. This is good. It'll probably take you a couple sessions. I don't recommend just going straight through it for 12 hours straight, but hey, if you want to, that's your kink.
Yeah, I will say it doesn't overstay its welcome even a little bit. But yeah, I can't imagine breaking it up into like just two sessions or something. You definitely want to take your time, because it's good length overall, but I feel like if you did, even half the game in one sitting, I feel like it'd probably be a bit much, even with it being good. But I will say, I mean, this is, I've played games where I'd recommend them to people, but it's usually more like, oh, if you like this genre or if you have an interest in this kind of thing. This is one of the first games, and this is the first game in a long time that, honestly, I would recommend it to everybody. Doesn't matter what your interests are. If you have access to It Takes Two and a partner for it, I cannot possibly recommend it anymore. This is easily one of the big hidden gems on my account that I've been most pleasantly surprised by. It really, I've played the We Were Here games. I haven't played A Way Out, but I was kind of expecting, We Were Here style co-op, a bit more serious and, very puzzle oriented. And this just took it in a completely different direction. It was much more casual, laid back. It had your humor. There was, challenging puzzle solving, but nothing overly so. Good platforming. It nailed it across the board. It really impressed me.
I cannot agree more. Yeah, it's great. It's probably one of the best games of last year with all the ones that I've played. Now that I've played it, I can say that it was probably one of the best. It's 4.65 on TA.
Oh, that's not surprising at all. Yeah,
a lot of other people really like it. It's a real treat. There's really no reason for you not to play it.
Yeah. The only comment I will make, because I'm sure there will be somebody out there who doesn't have a partner and wants to experience it, you're not going to be able to do this solo. There are a lot of parts where you need a lot of coordination and a lot of active play between both players. So don't think that you can just kind of go through this and skate through it on, besting with two controllers for the achievements or the story or whatever it may be. You're not going to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, the boss fights alone would get you.
Yeah, you wouldn't make it past the first boss fight, that's for sure. If you could make it that far.
But you could always use our fine Discord server and try to find somebody who hasn't played it.
Yes.
Quite a few friends who haven't. Quite a few friends who have completed it, but a lot who have not, so...
Yeah, you can definitely find someone over in Age 101.
Yeah, for sure. Or, I could see me, maybe not like immediately playing it again, but I could see me playing this again.
Oh yeah, down the line, if somebody was really struggling to find a partner, I could totally see hopping in and saying, yeah, I'll go through again. And I'd likely have forgotten most of the puzzle solving by then. Yeah, would definitely pick the other character. I'd probably have forgotten most of the puzzle solving by then, and if not, I can kind of let them lead the way.
For sure. Yep, it's good stuff.
It is. It's very good stuff.
especially if you've played A Way Out and maybe you're a little soured by that, I'd say this is better than A Way Out. Still, also check out A Way Out because that one's much shorter and it has a lot of cool ideas in it. So.
It's been on my list for a while, but having played this and knowing that it's the same developers, it's definitely heavily increased my interest in going back and finally getting around to playing through it.
It's good stuff, man. So I know it's a quick one. It's just so easy to rave about this game, but I don't want to spend an hour just.
I know. I'm not saying, we really could. I cannot make it clear enough just how surprisingly impressed I was by it. I really can't. I'd find a way to drag this thing out to an hour if I tried. It's just that good.
And ultimately, I don't want to spoil a lot of the discovery part of it.
Right.
I could get into an in-depth conversation and talk about it, and maybe we could, if you really want us to, we could release it on Patreon or something. But I want people who haven't played it to experience it fresh and see all of these for themselves without hearing it from me first. Unlike a lot of the other games we've played, where you either are going to play Gears or you're not, you should play this.
Yeah, like Gears is one of those games I was talking about earlier. You know, I would definitely recommend it if you enjoy third-person cover-based shooters, but it's not the kind of thing that I would just say, if you enjoy playing video games even a little bit, go try it. But I will say that here, if you have any interest in video games, go try out It Takes Two.
Even if you don't, I could see a lot of people gaining a lot from this because it's just such a delightful story.
Yeah.
I could see even getting like my mom to play It Takes Two.
Yeah.
It's never too challenging.
No, not at all. It's pretty casual all the way through. It very much feels like they did design it to allow for that, to allow for you to just pick someone up and be like, hey, you know, we don't do gaming a whole lot together. Would you like to sit down and go through this and just have a blast all the way through?
For sure. Yeah, you could probably even drag your significant other through it. Just your non-gaming girlfriend could probably play through all this game.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, that was a quick one, but do you have anything else you want to add with It Takes Two?
No, I mean, I think the only thing I would mention is that there is, just be prepared going in. Most of the chapters are pretty smooth sailing and pretty good paced. I will say that there is one that drags on a little longer than I would have liked. So just,
yes.
You know, do be prepared that there will be one that may go a little longer than you're wanting it to. It's still good, but it definitely felt like it was reaching the end of that. But other than that, it was well paced.
It took us 2 whole sessions to get through that one chapter because it was just that long. There was so much to that one spot.
Yeah.
They pack in a lot of different themes though.
They do.
To vary it up. You're going after this one goal for a while.
Yep. But it all worked out in the end. But...
Yeah, sure. All right, yeah. So that was Cooperation Nation. Again, you can play that on EA Play. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can play it, and you should. It's a really good time. So for Cooperation Nation, I'm Vulgar Latin.
I'm a Heizo.
And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.
Peace.